It's finally the end of the year, and as we close the curtains to 2024, there were so many moments that reminded us of the evolving creative and entertainment space in Cameroon. From the massive concerts to art to several aspects that made us see the evolution of the creativity and the entertainment scene in Cameroon. But then one question remained: how do we continue to nurture and also create sustainability for this industry? Let's find out. What's up, people? Quite enough compliments of the season. And if you guess right, I'm excited because it's our last episode of the year. I am your host, the Voice Gemma, and of course, this is Quite Enough, your podcast that's, we come here, have fun, people, talk about what's next, what's new, and what matters. Now, I'm most excited because for our end of year special, we have a very special guest to go along with that. We have my very good friend. I don't know if I should call him friend or should I call him someone I admire so much. So he's someone whose work I'm a fan of. Some of you know him as the African photographer. I have Kevin Philippe with me in the studio. Welcome to Quite Enough.
Thank you, Gemma.
How do you feel?
I feel very excited to be here. A little bit stressed too because whenever cameras are on me, I tend to lose everything. But I'm very, very happy to be on your show. I've been wanting to be here ever since you launched it.
Yeah.
And so, it's a delight, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Compliments of the season.
Thank you.
And I'm sure that you're excited for the year to come to an end and you have like big plans for the year to come. But before we get into all of that, let's start with our What's New for the week. Now, for our What's New, we had so many moments this past week. There were so many events that happened. But first of all, we had the Tiakola concert, which was a huge success. The turn-up was amazing. The feedback online was amazing. And shout-outs definitely to Evolve Cameroon. It's a communications agency. Last year, I think they were the ones that hosted the concert where Omale was here, two consequent concerts in Yaoundé and in Douala simultaneously. Shout out to them. But then after the whole concert, everybody was happy. The aftermath on social media was something else. And I would like to say I was kind of embarrassed with some of the comments that were made. Wait, do you know Tiakola?
Not that much, but
Okay.
I've heard about him, like some of his songs. Mm-hmm. I've not really dived into it really, but I know a little bit about him.
Okay, so after the whole concert online, specifically on the X, formerly known as Twitter, some people went to the app to talk about how why should Cameroonians show up for him the way they did, and they do not show up for homegrown artists the same way, and that it is tagged as a lack of patriotism. So this person says they didn't attend because it would be a sort of lack of
Act of patriotism.
Act of patriotism. What am I even saying? Okay, yes, this person just felt like it was better for people to support homegrown artists than people that are international. So that brings me to ask the question: should entertainment be limited to an act of patriotism, or should people just enjoy what they enjoy because of the art and because of what people as artists have to offer to them?
I think people just need to enjoy whatever makes them happy. Mm-hmm. Wherever the music comes from, whether it comes from Côte d'Ivoire, Ghana, Nigeria, Cameroon, or any other country, as long as they connect with the artist, it doesn't have to be. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. I don't really see the link why the person brought patriotism. Or is it patriotism?
The thing is, this whole patriotism statement is always coming up, especially after someone internationally does something. I think when what's his name, Prince Aimé did that his old Vivian
The
thing.
remix.
Yes, people still came up with that whole emotional blackmail of let us support because he is Cameroonian, not because okay he did a good job or we enjoy what he did, but because oh let's do it because he is Cameroonian. And to me, it really doesn't make sense. And I feel that is what is kind of holding us back
Yes.
from getting to the stage that we need to get. We are still way behind in Cameroon, if we're being honest, when it comes to entertainment or creativity, because there are so many conversations that are not supposed to be had. The things that matter, we don't really engage
We don't
in
really
that.
engage in them.
Yeah.
And that's I agree with you. We are so behind when it comes to entertainment.
Yeah.
When you see artists from other countries and how they invest in their craft, we still lack a lot of that here in
Yeah.
Cameroon. I saw some videos of the show at Palais. Is it Palais?
Palais de Sport.
Palais de Sport.
Yeah.
I mean, the place was full.
Yes, there were still people outside. Like people really turned up because they really enjoyed. Because
People really do enjoy the music, and I know a cousin of mine went to the show, and she told me that she doesn't really know the artist that much, but she has been listening to the music from time to time, and she wasn't disappointed when she got there. She wasn't disappointed. So I don't know whoever came up with that tweet. It makes no sense.
It definitely makes no sense. And you just spoke about something, investing in their craft.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think causes the whole divide between patriotism, between good artists? Do you think it comes from lack of artist development here in Cameroon, or do you think it's just easier to hype international artists?
It's probably the lack of artist development. Probably, I'm a huge fan of music, and I love Cameroonian music. I love our Cameroonian artists. I mean, some of them, not all. I don't want to shade anyone. No shade to anyone, okay?
You're on quite
But
enough, so yeah, you're safe.
so but I do believe there is a lack of artist development. I don't even know where to start because
There's a whole lot.
yes.
And I think another angle someone brought up is that many of the artists in Cameroon just are they really in the music for the art, or they are just there for the money and the fame? Because most of these artists, they don't even engage in cultural events that happen in the
don't.
country. If it doesn't concern them,
They don't.
you don't see them
They
there. Do they
don't.
even support some of the movements that are happening? Other artists that are having shows. What do you do aside from bringing out music? Do you build a community? All of that. There's a whole lot to unpack.
Do you
about
build
that.
a community? What are your videos like? Do you just go into a room and shoot something? Is there any creativity behind most of them? I like many of them. We don't see the creativity behind the and the quality of the music too. At times
and
it's
even
just
brand identity.
yes. I mean they don't work on that. They don't work on that. I mean you can document yourself. Everything is I think Google is everyone's best friend.
Yeah.
You go to Google if you want to do something, or you try to meet people that can help you, because some people they just want to work by themselves. Like they don't want to include other people because for whatsoever reason, I don't know, but there's still a lot to do.
There's still a
Like
lot to
quite
do.
a lot.
And I think if we start telling ourselves the truth, that is where we will kind of be ready to put in the work. And I'm hoping that probably next year we can be able to do that. Like we can be able to come out of that whole shell of patriotism and be
Yeah.
able to constructively criticize, not just criticizing
Yeah.
for criticizing sake. Now, apart from the whole Tiakola concert, I was at a stage play yesterday, which was brought to us by Quill Quarters. It's a hub for creatives, poets, and storytellers. So it was a very unique stage play. The name was Family Palaver. So it kind of touched the whole family dynamics, some of the things that goes on in a family, some of the problems, sibling rivalry, the father-mother issues, the father not loving the other children. Like there was a whole lot that when you watch, you will kind of relate to it. And I feel like art has a way of doing that to you. When you watch, you kind of, it serves like a mirror of the society,
Yeah.
I might say. So kudos to them. They were stellar actors. Their lines, you wouldn't feel that it was something that was recited. It was
Yes.
spoken word
It just
poetry.
felt
It just
natural.
felt natural.
Yeah.
Their expressions, the whole thing was just so beautiful. I really had a great time, even though I didn't stay to the end. But the moment I was there, it was really they really put in a lot of work to that, and kudos to you guys. Now you are in the creative and in the art scene, right?
I
And art has
believe
always
so.
you are art has always been a tool for reflection. So why do you think it is important for more people in the art scene to create something that can be able to pass lessons, or stories that can be able to, cause a kind of shift, kind of questions, to ask people reflections through their art?
Um, why do I think it's important for people to
To put out more work and to kind of pass lessons or cause a
a
conversation,
conversation?
yes, from their art.
Because I think I believe that we go through, as individuals, we go through a lot in our personal lives. And for me, for example, I've been thinking about that recently. I would really love to start using my art to bring up topics that are taboo sometimes. For example, depression. I've been dealing with depression since the age of 10. No, the age of 10. And for the past 2 or 3 years, I've been talking about that with a friend who is also a creative, Ivan Tango, who's an amazing photographer and videographer too. I told him that I would love us to do like a short movie about depression, going to interview professionals and victims. I think art is probably the best way to come up with topics like that and get people to be aware of certain things that are really killing people every day, and to be able to tell people that it is okay to, because sorry if I talk about depression a lot. It's a topic that's very dear to my heart and very important. I lost my mom to depression, for example. So I know that people go through that a lot and they are not even aware, because we are in a society, we're in Africa, and we're in a society where if you tell a friend or brother or sister that it's like I'm depressed, they're like, no, you just need money.
Yeah, tu n'as pas
Tu n'as
l'argent.
pas l'argent. Or this is white. It's a white man disease.
Yeah,
Get over it. Things like that. You're just being weak. I mean,
doesn't make any
yeah,
sense.
I think it's important for artists to really use their art to come up with things that can help people, and that can get people aware of things that are happening in the society.
Absolutely. Okay, so before we get into discovering the African photographer, we're going to play a little game. I
Okay.
love games. So it's this or that,
All right.
Cinema or Netflix and chill?
God. This question is tough because okay, I think I might say Netflix and chill because that's what I do most of the time. But I love going to the movies.
Okay.
especially with friends.
Yeah, with friends,
Yeah.
it's usually nice. But also as a solo date,
Also, yeah.
it
Also,
goes nice. So would you go for a simple look or a bold, sophisticated look?
always simple. Always simple but catchy.
Chic.
Yeah, it has to be. It has to be catchy, simple.
This kind
I'm
of quiet elegance.
exactly.
Yeah.
I don't like. I'm not a big fan of bold colors, but it depends. I like
Depends.
when it's sober
Okay.
and elegant.
All right. Big events or intimate events?
Intimate events. I am a very shy person and a big introvert,
Yeah.
so I like intimate events with people I know mostly. Yeah, I'll go for that.
So that you will be playing. What's the name of that game? Is it Lulu?
Lugaru.
Lugaru.
Yes. If you don't know about Lugaru, please, you guys check that out. It's one of the nicest games ever.
I think the day we started playing it, we didn't get to the when it was my turn to play. That was where the
That
whole thing scattered. And I told you guys we have to do a rematch.
no, we have to. We
We have to
definitely
do a
have to.
rematch.
We had a good time that evening.
Yeah. So teamwork or solo?
Teamwork.
Okay.
Teamwork. I always tell myself that if my dream I have so many dreams. If that particular dream of getting in the music industry, if I had become a singer like I wanted, I think that every album there would be collaborations, like singing with other artists.
Yeah, featuring other
I
artists.
love teamwork. I love good teamwork.
Okay.
Yeah.
So big cities or countryside?
That one is another tough question. I would probably say big cities because I was born and raised in Yaoundé. It's quite a big city. But as I'm growing older, uh, I like a quiet place. I definitely like a quiet place. That's why I don't go out much.
Right.
When I get home after work, I just want to stay in my house. And I'm in a neighborhood where everyone is just in his house,
Minding
like
their business.
minding their business.
Yeah.
A bit of the two.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me put a little trap. You said Yaoundé. Yaoundé or Douala?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yaoundé or Douala? Wow.
Because I see you going to Douala a lot.
Yes. I didn't like Douala.
My people.
9 years ago, I hated that city because of the climate, the weather. It's too hot. And I felt like it was too dirty. I'm sorry, Douala people.
No, we're not apologizing to the other people on this podcast.
I just felt like, but Douala is the city where you it's hard to get bored.
Yeah.
There's always something to do.
That's like
Always
lively.
Yeah, it's very lively. Yaoundé can be very boring. It's very boring. Yeah.
I've
Let me
been
be
trying to
honest.
defend Yaoundé for a long
No,
time.
me too. Because this is my city. But the truth is Yaoundé is very boring. So let's say Kenai, a bit of Yaoundé, a bit of Douala.
All right. Well, I loved playing that game with you, and I love how you back up each of your answers with with explanations. It kind of makes me like, okay, this is how he thinks, this is how he reasons, and I actually love that about people that kind of let you see how their mind is, what goes on in their mind. So now let's come back to you. We're putting the spotlight back to you.
Okay.
Now we introduce you as the African photographer, and I know you do a whole lot of things, but before we get into what you do, if you are to be asked, who is Louis Kevin? Let me see.
Okay, who is Louis Kevin? Am I allowed to give my age here? Is it necessary? No.
It's not necessary.
All right. Okay, Louis Philippe Kevin is a young Cameroonian. I'm a translator. I am an editor too for a web magazine called Sekoma Magazine. Shout out to my people from Sekoma Magazine. Gael Nana, I see you, Danielia, and the others. Um, I'm a big fan of music. I'm a big introvert, but I can be an extrovert when I'm around my people. I think you've already seen me in that situation. I love everything that revolve around art, music, photography, paintings, all of that. And 5 years ago, I started taking pictures as the African photographer. Um, what else do you need to know about me? I love my family. I love my brothers and sisters. Like, I could do anything for them.
Yeah, yeah, big family person. I've
Yeah,
noticed that.
I love my friends. Like, I have these friends I've had for years. They are like that, my family too. Um, I love dressing up. I love smelling good. I always smell good. Um,
Okay, I think we'll put a pause on that
yeah,
because
so that's it about me.
okay, all right. So, when you were talking about yourself, you mentioned you're a translator, and the first time I met you, or how I got to know you was through your art first,
Yes.
and later I found out you're a translator. I'm like, okay. We were kind of going in the same path until I decided, okay, let me take a pause because I did bilingual studies.
Yeah, you
I
told
wanted
me.
to do translation to at a point.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God for safety. But don't get me wrong, it's kind of helping me now with what I'm doing media. Especially in a bilingual country, you have to,
Yes.
be able to do both. So I want to know how that choice came about. Was it something you always knew that you wanted to go into translation, or you just started and along the way
Oh no.
the wind just blew you there?
No. When I was in secondary school, the only thing I had in mind was music. I wanted to be in the music industry. I used to sing. So I remember telling my dad after having my GCE, I would like to go to, how do you call it, conservatoire?
Okay.
Yeah, to learn music and all
Yeah.
of that. And my sister just told me, she advised me to have a plan B. So that's how translation came up. And I went to Boya, and I didn't like it there. So I came back to Yaoundé, and that's where I found a translation school. And I discovered that I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's not an easy job. I mean,
Absolutely.
translation is in general, it's not
It's
easy.
not.
But when I started learning, I enjoyed it. So
Absolutely.
that's how translation was my plan B.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your plan B, do you enjoy it as much as you enjoy music?
Um. Yes, kind of.
Okay. So what's like a typical day in your life as you
As a
translate?
translator,
Yeah.
so I wake up very early because um, I work quite far from where I stay, and I get to work. I check my mails, and see what I have to translate. Like there are days where I have like tons of documents to translate. It can be technical documents or just general documents like a communique from our general direct manager, and yeah, that's basically
Already looks like.
my everyday job.
Okay.
Hmm.
So you mentioned that you started photography 5 years ago.
Yes, in
Was
2019.
2019? Okay. Was this something that kind of caused that spark to you deciding, okay, I'm going to take my camera and start shooting people? Or was it random?
No, it was not random.
Okay.
I think you're starting to know me a little bit. Like, I have these ideas in my head, like I want to do this, but I always say, okay, tomorrow, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So I've been having this idea in my mind about taking pictures, because as far as I can remember, I've always loved taking pictures from the moment Facebook came up.
Mm-hmm.
And I had my first Facebook account. I was just taking pictures of everything, myself, my friends, my family, places. I've always loved pictures. So back in 2019, I just said, okay, let me do it. let me just do it and see how it goes. And I think was it in November 2019 that I posted the first picture on the African photographer account with a guy. My model was Ivan Etundi. At the time, he was still doing modeling and all of that. Now he's into active life. He's working in an office. He's lifing. Life is lifing, like you say. So yeah, that's how I just said, okay, let me just do it. Let me just do it. Let me do it and see how it goes.
Yeah, we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that strikes me about you is the name. So the first time I came across this account, I saw the African photographer,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Whoa, who is this? Let me find out." Because at that period, I was really obsessed about people who kind of stood out, were representing Africa in one way or the other. Because at that point, there was a project I wanted to do,
Yeah.
so I was like, "Okay, let me find people." But I didn't go looking for it. It was like it was dropped. You know how Instagram kind of suggests people to you,
Yes.
and then it was just there. I was like, okay, who's this person? And I started going through your pictures, and there was this whole curation. There's this whole, like, you see how everything is intentional. But before we get into that, why the name The African Photographer?
This that was not the name I was going for.
Okay, what name were you going for?
In the beginning, I had another name in mind, and that was the Negro photographer.
Okay.
I had a conversation with a friend of mine. His name is Kevin too. So I was like, I want to launch my photography account on Instagram, and this is the name I want to use, the Negro photographer. And he was like, why Negro? This is white people used to call us Negroes back in the days, slavery and all. And I was like, yeah, I know that. Um, I wanted to like play with the name. Like, okay, since you guys have been calling us Negro all this time,
Okay, you wanted to take back the narrative.
exactly. I wanted to take back the narrative, and he was like, "No, I'm not sure people are really going to like it and stuff." I said, "Okay, let me come up with something else." And the day after, I don't know, I had this Africa in mind. And to be honest, I really love being African. I'm very proud of that. And I said, okay, the African photographer. It sounds. At first, it was like, this is too long. But anyway, let me use it, and that's how I came up with it. Just as simple as that.
Simple.
I actually wanted something that resonated with the continent.
Okay.
Yeah, I could have used Kevin or Louis. And I just said, okay, let me.
Why did you want something significant to the continent? Because first of significant to the continent and also to the race, because you wanted to use Negro, and you couldn't use Negro. You went to African. Was there a particular reason you wanted to go with something that, kind of encompasses the whole race?
Because first of all, because of my environment, like I'm in an African environment,
Okay.
African country. My friends and family, everyone is black, and I love asking. And I also told myself at some point, if I ever get the chance to go out of my country, maybe to a European country or anywhere, I would love people to know that, okay,
You are African.
I am African. This is a guy from Africa, and he's proud of where he's coming from. So that's what I had in mind.
Okay. That's really interesting and very intentional, because I love when people kind of take me through their thought process of how they decide to come up with ideas or things that they represent, because to me it's very important, and that's why I feel like our stories are very important, because through our stories you inspire someone to own their story and
Yeah.
also to own their voices through. So you spoke about starting photography 5 years ago. What exactly did you want your art through your photography to kind of tell people?
Okay. If you've noticed, most of my pictures are portraits,
Yes.
faces. Um, I believe that our faces and our eyes, like, how can I say that? Our faces and our eyes show a lot of the things we have sometimes inside here.
Yeah.
And I just love faces, to be honest with you. I love looking at people and capturing the moment. I know sometimes when I say, okay, let's go for a shoot and pose, sometimes it can be acted. But I always tell my models to, like, okay, just be you. Just be you. I just want to capture what's happening at the moment. Most of the people I captured were not models. I mean, most of them are not models, and those are the people I prefer. I really love shooting. I wanted to. I don't know. I just feel like portraits are much more. They tell more stories than any other kind of pictures. That's my opinion.
Now, just what you said reminded me of something. 2 weeks ago, I think we're together at an event, the
Yes.
LAX, and you took a portrait of me. And when I posted it, there were a lot of reactions to that picture.
Yeah.
And everybody had a particular story they had to tell about that portrait.
Yeah.
And every time I still go back to look at it, and I feel so many emotions. And I think I told you that, like,
Yeah.
I absolutely loved that portrait. And I think it can be seen with all your projects.
Yeah.
And I think I love what you said about how our faces can carry so much more than we can tell.
Yes,
We can
exactly.
open our mouths to tell. Though this is a side note, I remember when someone said, my mouth can cooperate, but it's my face that cannot cooperate.
I agree with that person.
Because it happens to me a lot. I don't really talk. So if I'm not in if I don't absolutely have to talk, I don't talk.
Yeah.
So most times it's my face. You can see irritation instantly on my
Yeah.
face, no matter how I try to hide it.
Yeah, I feel you.
You can see it. Now you spoke about the people that you work with. So now I'm putting you on the spot.
Jesus.
You've taken pictures of me.
Jesus.
You've taken pictures of me at events, but I
Yeah.
want us to do a project together. Are you down?
Yes, I'm down. What would do you have any idea? Do you have any?
I have a lot of ideas, a lot,
Okay.
and especially when you talk about the essence of the African photographer, I have a lot.
All right.
So we're going to come back to tell you guys or show you guys what we have done
All
with
right.
the African photographer.
No problem. I'm down for it.
All right. So that was by the way. When we started the show, you spoke about some of the things or some of the principles that you kind of stand by, and you spoke about how one of the stories you want to be able to tell or use your art to talk about, causes you want to talk about.
Yeah.
You spoke about depression, right? And you said you had depression at a very young age, at the age of 10.
Yeah.
So how was it like navigating that whole process? I'm sure that at the beginning you might not have known exactly what you
Yeah,
were
I didn't
going
know.
through, especially being an African setting where you are going through stuff, but then you don't know how to explain what you're going through, and people don't necessarily believe that to be a thing. So how was it like navigating that?
No, it was very, very difficult. It has been very, very difficult because when you are 10, you're a child, and you start feeling things and you don't know how to put words on them. You don't even know where they come from. And I was, I had all these thoughts in my mind. I was a very shy boy. I loved playing, but it was really, really difficult for me to go out to people and talk with people and make friends. And I was bullied when I was in school too, because I was a round boy. I was a little bit overweight, so I was called names and things like that. I remember when I was in school, I just wanted to go home. that was I was not even, at times I was not even able to focus, because you're in class and your friends are calling you this or this or this. I wasn't able to focus. Plus, my mom was very ill. Um, so, and she was not in the country. They had to take her to abroad for medical assistance and all of that. And I was always thinking about her. Are they going to call us and tell us that she's gone and things like that? So I had to. The first time I actually placed the word depression on that was at the age of maybe 22.
Mhm.
Because I'm a very curious person. I started checking online, typing my feelings. Maybe I thought that maybe a word would come in. That word came up, and I was like, whoa. And I checked. I said, okay, this is what I've been going through. This is what my mom has been going through, and many people around me, they didn't just know. They didn't know it was that. I knew, because I was documenting myself, reading a lot of stuff about it. I never I never really met a professional. I've been dealing with that, which is not a good thing. I need to say that. I've been dealing and praying, but there are professionals that can help. So, yeah, it's not easy every day.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's not easy every day. But there are days where you wake up and you're like, okay, if you were able to wake up this morning, it's because the Almighty Father decided. So just hang on to Him and see where He takes you. But there are days where you don't even want to get out of bed. I've been there. You don't want to get out of bed. You have these crazy dark thoughts in your mind, like, I just want everything to be off.
Yeah.
And since we are in an environment, African environment, like I told you earlier, when you start talking about that, you're like, no, what are you saying? You're weak, especially as a
As a
man.
man, that's what
As
I was
a
about to say.
man, men go through a lot. I promise you, men go through a lot. Even our parents, fathers, because as a father, you are the head of the family. You have to take care of your wife, your children, your sisters, your mother, if your mother is still alive, and things like that. They go through a lot and they don't talk. They're like, okay, I'm the man. I have to, but it's not easy.
Now, you just spoke about how it was so hard for even people around you to kind of pick up on what wasn't working or what was wrong with you at the time, and I've seen that cycle happen so many times, and there are still more young people that might be going through stuff sometimes from family dynamics,
Yeah.
sometimes from how they grew up to who they grew up with, their people who didn't grow up with their family, and that kind of, put them in that situation, or just estranged relationship with their family. So, how do you think, or what do you think can be done, especially for these young children, or in the part of the parents? What do you think can be done to be able to kind of, curb it? It can be eradicated totally,
Yeah.
of course. So how can we curb it, or how can people be able to notice, pick up the signs, and just show up for their children when they need to?
I think for parents need to, even though it's not easy, they need to be very attentive, um, and talk with their children. I know that here in our African environment, the way our our parents were brought up back in the days, sometimes it was very harsh. Our grandparents didn't have time to discuss with you, like, what is wrong with you.
Mm.
Immediately, you mess up in school, you come back home, everybody's just on you. Nobody will actually take the time to, like, sit with you and ask you what is wrong. And I think parents need to do that. Sit with your children and ask them. I had this, if you permit me, I have this nephew of mine. He has been acting some type of way lately. He's 18 years old, and he stole something from me in my house, and I was very mad at him because I consider him as like my own son. I give him as much as I can, and I didn't understand why he did that. I was so mad at him. I left him home. I went out, and when I came back, he wasn't there. He left me a note, a letter, like a long letter, and he was like, "Uncle, I'm so sorry for what I did. I'm begging you. You were asking me questions, talking to me. I couldn't even reply. I have a problem. I don't know how to communicate. I don't know how to bring out words from my mouth. That's why I wrote a letter." And I even felt bad for, talking to him the way I did. I was mad. I was disappointed. But I understood that I had to find another way to, try to understand, get to him. And in that letter, he explained to me why he did that. And he came back and we had a conversation. So I think parents, that's what they should do. Like,
even the approach,
the way you approach your children. I was frustrated a lot when I grew up because, like I told you, my mother fell sick. I was still a child. I was around 8, so I had to live with my aunts and things like that. The way they talked to me, the way I was really, really frustrated. And at school, school wasn't the best place for me. So that's
I think I really loved how you were able to kind of, talk about it extensively and also bring out areas that sometimes parents get to miss out the signs. And also you spoke about approach, because most times parents tend to train their children the same way, forgetting that each child is unique. And sometimes you just have to be able to get to them in a way that is more suitable to them, and they're going to open up to you and they're going to get to you. I know you spoke about communication. A lot of children, sometimes their lack of communication comes from the tense environment that they grew up with. And I can say that I understand that because I didn't grow up with my parents. So that whole phase of not being, it took me a lot of time to be able to know how to voice out things. Up to now, there are still things that before I can voice it, sometimes I have to write it down for me to be able to explain to explain like exactly, because I feel like sometimes if I talk, it's like my voice doesn't come out. It's like something is holding it down. So I honestly feel like there's still a lot of work. I'm not a parent yet, but I feel like I've been a child. So I know that there are ways that you can get to children. There are ways that you can be able to communicate. There are ways that you can notice what is up with your child. You might not be the perfect parent, but then sometimes they just want to. There's no perfect parent. Sometimes they just want to see you try. They just want to see you just, stretch out your hand to say that, okay, I'm trying to pull you. I'm trying to know what's up with you. So, yeah. This is getting so emotional.
It's a tough topic.
It is. And I think it's something that we might have to come back again to have a conversation about it, because I feel like there's so much that needs to be spoken about when it comes to that topic. And I always make reference, though I might not be able to talk about it extensively yet, my own experience. So when you were talking about yours, it kind of reminded me, or I saw why things were the way they were, or I'm now saying that I was not crazy.
No, you weren't.
when I was how I was the way I was, And I believe that a lot of work still needs to be done, and there are a lot of children who just need help, who just need a listening ear, who just need an attentive. It doesn't have to be a parent, a guardian, a sister, a brother, just someone that needs to be there. But we're still on the African photographer. We're still on you, and I'm really happy that I had you on this episode. You know that I've always wanted to have you on my show, even the one that I did, though we're not going to talk about that. I've always wanted to have you on my show, so I'm really happy that we have you today on Quoi, Neuf. So it's the end of the year, and we have a little game for you to play as we wrap up the year. It's our end of the year episode. So before we wrap up the year, we have a little game where it revolves around end of year questions. So there's a little bag. We call it our secret bag that's here.
Shall I open it?
Yeah.
All right.
You can take it.
Let me see what's inside. Should I pick a paper?
Yes.
Okay. I hate surprises.
Sorry.
Oh, my best memory of 2024. My best memory of 2024. Jesus. Wait. My best memory of 2024. Okay. My younger brother recently became father.
Ooh.
He's a new dad, and his daughter was born in July.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I was not in Yaoundé. I was in Douala. I was on holidays, and the day my sister was at the hospital for the delivery, and she called me, and I heard a baby screaming because that girl screams. She was screaming behind, and I was like, "Who is that baby screaming like that?" It's like it's your niece screaming. So I think that's my best memory of 2024.
That's so sweet.
Yes, and I'm the godfather. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
Louis Kevin for Uncle of the Year.
Yes.
Okay, let's go with the next.
Okay, another one.
Yes.
Favorite viral moment or trend? What? Viral moment
I
or
feel like
trend?
we've lived like 5 years in 2024.
Jesus, say that again. Favorite viral moment or trend? Let me think of one. Maybe there's one on TikTok. There are these brothers, Cameroonian brothers. They live in the US.
Okay.
They are very popular on TikTok. I don't really know their names. One of them like to imitate teachers, Cameroonian teachers, things like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think yeah.
I think I know the person you're talking about, but the name is not coming to me. I think when we find the name, we're going to put it up.
His name.
Yeah,
yeah, I really loved their content.
That guy is so funny.
Yeah, I love their content.
So funny.
I really, really love their content. And okay, I'm thinking about one now. Dylan Comedy, and his videos about Bernadette, that teacher that kills her students. Oh. You haven't checked that? No. You need to check that on Instagram. It's very funny. On TikTok.
Okay, yeah. All right.
Another one.
Yeah, that's the last one.
Okay. Biggest lesson for the year 2024. Biggest lesson for the just love yourself and trust your gut.
Love yourself and trust your gut. Yes. I like that. I think it kind of resonates with me to an end. Yeah.
Love yourself. Love yourself.
Your gut.
And trust your gut. Love yourself with the last energy
that you have. Okay, so what is next for the African photographer? What should we be expecting in the year 2025?
I think you guys should be expecting an exhibition. I know I've been saying that for 2 years now, but I definitely think that it should happen next year, and I'm going to make sure it happens. I would love to see you guys, for those who know me and those that will get to know me through this podcast. Yeah, I would love to see you guys there, and I'm going to make sure it's something that you guys enjoy.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's it.
Don't worry, we'll be there live. Quite Enough will definitely come to, check out what's new. So if there's one thing you want people to take away anytime they see your work, what's one thing you want people to take away, or what's one emotion you want people to feel?
Love. I am a big lover. I love because I do my work with much love. Like when I go out to take pictures, even if it's just a spontaneous shoot, I really enjoy it. And I would love people to feel that when they see my pictures, like, this guy, he was very focused that day.
Yeah.
He was smiling, even though he was tired. I want people to get that from my work.
Absolutely.
And dedication too.
All right.
Even though I've been lazy.
He added a lot of, disclaimers. Yes, he added a lot of disclaimers. Well, it has been nice having you. But before we close, I want us to do something called a shout out to people, because it's the end of the year. A lot of creatives have been doing amazing jobs.
Yes.
This year. So if there is a creative, or let's say two, that you want to give a shout out to,
My God,
for a job well done.
job well done. Shout out to Yanawa. He has been improving his work. I just love his work.
Here and I have a problem, so I cannot give a shout out to him.
And I would say to God, okay, Ivan Tango.
Okay.
Those are the two I'll have to give my shout out to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for me, no, this is not me being biased, but like the artist that I want to give a shout out to is Jonathan Artist. Not because, okay, let's focus. Okay,
Yes, let's focus.
The reason why I would give a shout out is because I've seen the evolution of his art from the beginning of this year. The beginning of this year, he started with his pictures, and then it evolved to painting and sculpting.
Yes.
And now he's doing so many things that sometimes when I see his work, I'm like, okay, what next are you going to feed us? Because you've shown us everything that you want to show us. And I think for me, being able to see the evolution of artists is a grace for me, because it's being able to see the first stroke, the spark in their eyes when they do that first stroke, or you see that slow burn, and then finally to see that masterpiece. And that's why every of my friends who are artists, I absolutely admire them and their craft. And I just want to tell them, like, kudos, you guys are doing a good job. And kudos to Mapogo Collective. I love the artists on there. You guys are doing amazingly well.
I would love to give a shout out to, please, if you allow me to. I don't know if you've ever heard about her, Chris Denisa. She has been my muse ever since I started as a photographer.
Yeah.
Chris Denisa, she went from modeling, from doing runways to painting. You need to check her art.
Yeah.
So this is for more paintings, Chris Denisa. I think you need more encouragement. This is my encouragement to you. I love what you do. Shout out to you. And may God bless your art.
Amen.
Amen.
Shout out to every artist, every creative that has made 2024 a beautiful one for us. 2025, we are looking forward to all the amazing things that you are going to be doing, and I'll be definitely there to cheer you up, let the world know more about your work. So if you have one question, if you could ask me any question, it is time for it.
One question for you. What should we expect for 2025?
That is a very big question, I might add, but I'll definitely say 2025 is going to be a beautiful year. Why? Because I kind of came out of my shell this year. This year was a messy ride, but I think it helped me, because I told people that my birthday this year, I chose the tag or the theme Full Bloom. And so for Full Bloom, you have to, there has to be the shedding.
Yes.
I had that whole shedding period this year, and I'm kind of coming into myself. So there are a lot of projects that I've had in my head for years, but I've been scared to put them out. But 2025, I'm already making plans. I'm already feasible, actionable plans to seeing that 2025, I'm going to do more when it comes to amplifying voices of creatives, voices. There are shows that I'm going to be doing, and probably a live podcast show. And there's a lot, but everything revolving around creativity and entertainment.
All right.
We are going on this journey, and definitely Quad Enough will also evolve to something more than what it is.
I wish you good luck for that, and
thank you.
I'm excited to see what you're surely going to blow our minds. So.
Let's all calm down, because that's how I announced 2024. But before we close the show, I want to give a shout out to my producer, who is always showing up for Quite Enough and making it this amazing. Even on days that we're exhausted, tired, sleepy, they always show up, and the rest of the team on Chapnik Pictures. Thank you guys for rocking with me this year. I hope that next year we can create more magic together. And thank you so much to the African photographer.
Thank you
for coming on my show. And if there's one lesson I learned this year, you've spoken about trusting your gut. One lesson I learned this year: don't trust anybody. No, that's a joke. But then in everything that you do, like you said, trust your gut, and also be your biggest fan. Be your biggest fan. Even if nobody's hyping you, hype yourself. Even if it's rubbish you are doing.
Let me tell you something. Yesterday, I went to a wedding. I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, damn, you are fine. And today, while coming here, so hype yourself.
Okay. I know we've said we are meant to close this, but Kevin,
yes.
When are we hearing one of your songs, or when will you be featuring with Kelly Rowland?
Oh.
Very good.
It's coming.
Okay.
That's all I can say.
It's coming. Okay, guys. So this is the final episode for the year, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of the day. Oh, it's just one more day to the end of the year. So make sure you utilize it. Make sure that you plan for 2025 and make it as beautiful as you want it to be. Catch you next year, still on Quite Enough. I'm your host, The Voice Gemma, and definitely keep doing you, trust your gut, hype yourself, and always remember there is something inside of you that the world needs to hear. Happy New Year, compliments of the season.